Lo, the outraged leaders of Yashua's crucifixion. And Yashua said, "If anyone declares publicly that he belongs to me, I will do the same for him before my Father in heaven. But if anyone rejects me publicly, I will reject him before my Father in heaven. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the world. No, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. I have come to set sons against their fathers, and the daughters against her mothers, and the daughters-in-law against her mothers-in-law." Now it was 33 AD, and Jesus once again told his disciples about his betrayal. It was on a Tuesday, 2 days before the Passover. Then one of the 12 disciples, the one named Judas Iscariot, went to the Cohen priests and asked, "What will you give me if I betray Yashua to you?" They counted out 30 silver coins equivalent to $52.80 and gave them to him. From then on, Judas was looking for a good chance to hand Jesus over to them. So he went and visited John in jail to see what information he could attain. The weight of the silver pieces, according to the weight of the sanctuary, was equal to 600 pieces. They called them dirhams, which is 100 centines. Jesus had sent Peter and John ahead to prepare. But an unbelieving Judas had stolen into the house to watch Yashua that he might by no means escape. The Passover supper was the time when he announced that one of his disciples was to become possessed by the devil and to betray him. His disciples pleaded with him to disclose who his traitor was so they could kill him, but he wouldn't. And in quietness, Peter asked John to ask Jesus who it was that should betray him. One of the disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was sitting next to Jesus. Simon Peter motioned to him and said, "Ask him who he is talking about." So the disciple moved close to Jesus' side and asked, "Who is it, Rabboni?" Jesus answered, "I will dip some bread in the sauce and give it to him. He is the man." So he took a piece of bread, dipped it, and gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. Jesus then told Judas, who was the 12th chosen disciple, to go do his devilishment. But no one in the upper room knew what Jesus meant by those words, except for John and Peter. As far as everyone else was concerned, Judas was going out to buy those things needed for the feast. After Judas left, Jesus spoke to his disciples and told them that they should sell their garments for swords if they had none, which means that his initial plan was to fight, not simple surrender. Remember, he said, "I came not with peace but with a sword." This sword was not the sword of his mouth, it was weapon for defense and was used for such. For when they came to seize Jesus by shadow hour, one of his disciples took out his sword and cut off the ear of a servant of the high priest, an image never portrayed on any of the pictures presented to you, that they carried swords with them. Judas opposed Jesus strongly. Being of the tribe of Judah, he believed he was protecting the covenant of Jacob by betraying Jesus. Because Jesus did not fall in the line of the Levitical priesthood, Judas neglected him. Judas was expecting a political figure, and Jesus came as a religious figure instead. Thus he hated the Romans and the leaders of the children of Israel, whom he worked for, and longed for a warrior-type Messiah to liberate all of his people. Jesus did not meet Judas's expectations, and because of this, Judas did not trust him. Eventually, the Pharisees and enemies of Jesus started spreading rumors that Jesus was possessed of an evil spirit in Nazareth. This added to the negative feeling that Judas already had, making him doubt Jesus even more. The disciples did not understand that Jesus was a man of many parables. Often when he spoke, the disciples did not understand and were more afraid to ask him questions, so they questioned each other concerning what Jesus said, and as a result they remained in ignorance. Not only was there doubt and confusion in the minds of the disciples, but there was also jealousy and envy of the relationship Jesus had with other people, especially women. It was when all the women came to Jesus that his own people became very angry, jealous. And upon misconstruing the relationship Jesus had with these women, some of his disciples went out among the Judahites and slandered his name. They were also filled with doubts because of the various rumors that were being spread by the Pharisees. On one occasion, Jesus went to the house of Simon the leper, Canaanite, in Bethany, where Lazarus, which had been declared dead, whom he resuscitated. There they made him a supper, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with them. While in Simon's home, Mary of Magdala, called Mary Magdalene, his wife of Bethany, the sister of Lazarus, took a pound of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Yashua, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with odour of ointment. When Judas, his disciple, which should betray him, saw what Mary was doing, he became very jealous. Judas felt that the oil was being wasted, and that instead it should have been sold for a good price, and said, "Was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor?" Judas was the treasurer amongst the disciples, and what he really wanted to do was to sell the oil and take some of the money for himself. Then said Yashua, "Let her alone against this day of my burying. Has she kept this? For you always have the poor with you, but you don't always have me." Judas was very angry, and being seduced by Nakash, he went to the high priest with plans to betray Yashua, because he knew that they sought to kill him. Much people of the Judahites therefore knew that he was there, and they came not for Yashua's sake only, but that they might see Lazarus also, whom he has raised from the dead. But the chief priest consulted that they might put Lazarus also to death, because that by reason of him many of the Judahites went away and believed on Yashua. On the next day, much people that would come to the feast, when they heard that Yashua was coming to Jerusalem, took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him and cried, "Hosanna! Blessed is the ruler of Israel that cometh in the name of Yahuwah." And Yashua, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon, as it was written, "Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, your ruler cometh sitting on an ass, colt." These things understood not his disciples at the first. But when Yashua was glorified, then remembered they that these things were written of him, and that they had done these unto him. The people therefore that was with him when he called Lazarus out of the grave and raised him from the dead bore record. For this cause the people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle. The Pharisees therefore said amongst themselves, "You perceive how you prevail nothing. Behold, the world is gone after him." They knew that they must stop him,